Athena Alexandra Brownfield was born in Lawton, Oklahoma on the 6th of September 2018. She loved the colour purple and Baby Shark. Wesley and Jasmine Brownfield, who were Athena's parents, had split up and gone their separate ways. Ivan and Alicia Adams, who was a self-professed beauty influencer on TikTok, had 4 biological children of their own, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Let me show you exactly how much of a psycho crazy I should be. You think I'm a psycho?
And I want to thank my haters too because they be downloading my stuff so they can hear it and talk crap about it. But it and it made me realize I don't care anymore what anybody gotta say. I'ma do me.
All 8 of them lived together on a rented lot located at 225 Nebraska Avenue in Cyril, Oklahoma. Athena referred to Ivan as both Dad or Uncle Ivan and Alicia as both Mom or Ali. Jasmine and Alicia were cousins, and in April of 2021 she was suffering from mental health issues, so she asked Alicia if she would look after the girls for her. Jasmine says she didn't want Wesley, her ex, to have the girls due to prior abuse allegations about him. However, Wesley's mom, Penny Brownfield, said that the biological father had been prevented from seeing the children by Jasmine. Penny said Jasmine hid the kids from them all the time. Jasmine, who was adopted as a child, also had a strained relationship with her adopted family, the Faircloths. So with no one else to rely on, as she saw it, she left the kids with Ivan and Alicia. Jasmine didn't visit the girls while they were in the care of the Adams, and she'd not spoken to them for up to 9 months. So she missed their birthdays as well as holidays, and she didn't send any money to help pay for their care. During their time with the Adams, around 20 months, neither of the girls attended appointments for medical reasons, and neither of the girls were enrolled into schools. The Adams also left the girls home alone many times by themselves, bearing in mind that they were 4 and 5 years old at the time. By all accounts, Ivan and Alicia had a bit of a rocky marriage, and they split up sometime mid-December to late December, but still lived together. This meant there was an incredible toxic living environment for everyone who lived there. Tuesday, January the 10th, 2023, at around 2 p.m, a postal worker by the name of Macy Turner spotted Athena, now 5 years old, wandering near her home. Little Athena was crying and claimed to be hungry and alone, and she didn't know where her 4-year-old sister was. The postal worker brought Athena back to Nebraska Avenue, but found it empty with no adults there, and in fact there was no children there either. Fearing the worst, Macy contacted the authorities and the police chief Gary Rainey responded to the scene and took Athena for a forensic interview. Police Chief Rainey said that when he got that call from the postal carrier stating that the 5-year-old girl was wandering around on her own, he didn't think that it was that serious. He said, "First thing that goes through my mind is that a kid has managed to get out of the house and is playing outside and the parents don't actually realise. This is typically the case when somebody spots a child outside. However, shortly after, I realised we had a more serious situation." Athena had told them that she was left at home and she was tired of being alone and she hadn't seen her sister for more than 2 days. Chief Rainey contacted the landlord of the property and was able to track down the adults pretty quickly. According to Alicia, she left all 6 children in the care of Ivan. No one even knew where Alicia was at first, she'd just taken off. She said she had left home a week prior and had been spending time with her new boyfriend, Bladen Davis, who lived about 2 hours away. Interestingly, a few days prior, on January the 7th, Ivan had shown up in Arizona to see his family members with his 4 biological children. Allegedly, he told the family members that Athena and Athena had been dropped off with their grandparents. Athena was wandering around the neighbourhood all alone and the grandparents hadn't seen the girls in years. Athena claimed that she hadn't seen her sister in 2 days, but based on the timeline of events, it was many, many more than that. Authorities put out a missing and endangered child notification. This would send out a notification to anyone within a 15-mile radius of Cyril. Athena was last seen wearing a butterfly sweater and was described as being 3 feet tall, 45 pounds, with light brown hair and blue eyes. Athena was placed into protective custody. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, assisted by the Caddo County Sheriff's Office, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and later the FBI, and the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, launched a search for Athena Brownfield. A command post was set up at the Family Life Church in Cyril, where community members could volunteer to help with the search or let law enforcement know if they had any video doorbell footage that might help them. Over 250 volunteers searched to help find the 4-year-old. The home in Nebraska Avenue was taped off and a search warrant was executed. Law enforcement searched throughout the night for the little girl. Local citizens were asked to stay inside so that infrared tools might be able to pick up signs of Athena. On Wednesday, January the 11th, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol Emergency Response Team conducted a search of nearby lots, ponds and fields. In the afternoon of the same day, 2 bloodhound teams from the Oklahoma Department of Corrections were brought in to search specific areas. The OSBI held a press conference to discuss what they knew so far.
Including the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They're helping us out. The Comanche Nation is coming to help, as well as Fort Sill is providing some soldiers for the search operations that OHP is running with their ERTs. We've been out all day conducting those grid searches with volunteers, and we really appreciate their support along with OHP support in managing that effort. We are collecting items that could be relevant. I'm not going to call them evidence, but we are finding things around town that could be helpful in this case. One of the questions from this morning was about the health and condition of the 5-year-old that was found yesterday. Excuse me. We can report that she did not require medical care at the time. Of course, she was frightened. That goes without saying when you're a 5-year-old. She's currently in protective custody with the state, but she did not require any sort of medical care at the time. We really appreciate all the tips that have been called in to our tip line. We encourage anybody in town, whether you're a business owner or a resident, that if you have any sort of video cameras or Ring doorbell systems, if you can come down to the church and provide that to law enforcement, it will be very beneficial. Let's see. We're still working on putting together the exact timeline. But again, I can confirm that this investigation really kicked off yesterday about 2 p.m. when the postal carrier located the 5-year-old and contacted the police department. And then we got involved later that night. And then, of course, all of our law enforcement partners have joined us, and we've been looking for her nonstop since the original call came into the police department. With that, I'm going to let Trooper Foster answer some questions about OHP resources that are out here and also address the Amber Alert.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the Oklahoma Highway Patrol was requested last night, and obviously we're here to assist. And so we brought all of the resources that are available to be able to come and assist. We've been in the air with helicopter, with infrared. We've been on the ground. Obviously, you've seen around town there are a lot of grid searches on foot going around and on four-wheelers, things like that. And so our ERT team, which is a team specially trained to go on foot in search of people and things, are out in coordination with civilians who have come and wanted to volunteer their time and effort. And that's really a great thing to see, especially in Oklahoma. We see that all the time. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol also is utilizing boats on some of these small ponds out here to make sure that we check waterways and check those thoroughly to make sure all of that is done appropriately with sonar and things like that we can see in the water. And so the Oklahoma Highway Patrol is very much involved in just assisting whatever needs to be done that is requested from OSBI and the city of Surreal. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved. And really, I reach out and say, pray for all of those involved, not just on the law enforcement side, but there are a lot of people, there are a lot of civilians, there are a lot of resources being put into this that this is done appropriately.
2 days into the search, trash collection was stopped until further notice, and surveillance footage from around the town was being checked. At 4 p.m. January the 12th, officers arrested Alicia Adams on 2 counts of child neglect, one for the treatment of Adina and the other for the treatment of Athena. Her SUV was towed from the house and seized as evidence. She later pled not guilty and a bond was set for $500,000.
So as you know, I'm Brooke R. Beitman. I'm the PIO at the OSBI. We do have a very limited update for you guys right now in the Athena Brownfield investigation. Alicia Adams was arrested today at 4:12 p.m. on 2 counts of child neglect. The counts are related to the 2 sisters, 4 and 5, who were in her and her husband's care. As you guys all know, the 5-year-old was found wandering outside of the Adams' house on West Nebraska in Surreal, and a postal carrier found the 5-year-old, and that's when police were notified. At this point, the investigation into her whereabouts continues. We are actually getting tips from across Oklahoma as well as multiple other states. As you also are aware, trash service in town was suspended. That was in an effort to search for additional clues as to Athena's whereabouts. Right now, I want everyone to understand we're still looking for her. Nothing has changed. Despite what's being said out there, we're looking for her. Our analysts and our team of multiple law enforcement agencies are reviewing surveillance video from around town and again pursuing any tip that comes in, following it up, and trying to identify any clues that can be used to locate Athena.
Ivan Adams was arrested in Glendale, Arizona on January the 13th. He was being charged with first-degree homicide and child neglect in the state of Oklahoma. The victim? Athena Brownfield. Ivan was initially held at the Maricopa County Jail on a £1 million cash bond. He was extradited to Oklahoma on January the 19th and he was subsequently denied bond. On the evening of Saturday the 14th of January, community members gathered in Cyril to hold a candlelight vigil for Athena Brownfield.
Last few days have been very trying for our communities.
The fire chief spoke on behalf of the town, saying he believes this tough time will make Cyril stronger.
While we always hope and pray that the tragedies of the world will never impact our lives and communities, this event has placed our loving community into the spotlight of the nation. And I truly believe that this will bring our community closer and even more tightly woven.
Residents brought their own candles and extras for others, braving the cold for this message of hope.
Letting everybody know that we know Athena's coming home.
And thanking anyone from surrounding communities or throughout Oklahoma who've helped in the search.
The overwhelming support has been great and vast.
Residents were very emotional tonight, sharing hugs and tears.
It's just a way for us to kind of be refreshed and show some hope and some support for our communities.
On January the 16th, less than a week after Athena had been reported missing, officials of the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation announced that the search had now turned into a recovery mission.
This is not the update really anyone was hoping for today, but the OSBI does tell us they're treating the search for missing Athena as a recovery operation at this point. They're searching in Caddo County along with Oklahoma Highway Patrol for the missing toddler's remains. We're told Athena and her 5-year-old sister were in Ivan and Alicia's care for at least a year. The OSBI and other local and statewide law enforcement have been searching for Athena since last Tuesday. They tell us that Athena's 5-year-old sister was found outside their Cyril home on January 10th with no adult supervision. Hundreds of people have joined in on this search, working to find Athena.
Ground-penetrating radar equipment was brought in to search properties in neighbouring Grady County, including a property near a home where Ivan and Alicia had previously lived in Rush Springs.
Live. Let's show you this little girl they are searching for, now going on more than 48 hours. We have had teams in Cyril ever since this news came down. We were there overnight. We have several crews there right now, so if anything breaks, we will bring it to you live during this newscast. Again, there is her photo, 4-year-old Athena Brownfield missing out of Cyril, Oklahoma, southwest of the OK.
Sadly, on January the 17th, the body of a small child was found buried in a shallow grave on this property.
Breaking news. Remains of a child found near Rush Springs. Investigators stopping short of saying it's Athena Brownfield, but tonight we're learning new details in the case that...
Though it was not known by the public at the time, during her interview with the police after her arrest, Alicia Adams waived her Miranda rights and confessed that at their home on December the 25th, her husband Ivan beat Athena to death. She alleged that Ivan held the little girl up by her arms until she was not moving and her eyes were barely opening. He then laid her on the ground and punched her at least 3 more times in the chest. Alicia claimed that after the final punches, Athena never moved again. Alicia said that at 1 a.m. on December the 26th, Ivan left the house with Athena and came back without her. She claimed that when he returned, he told her that he had buried her near a fence that was near to their old residence in Rush Springs, and he had placed a large, broken branch over the burial site.
Documents released today, girl was beaten to death on Christmas night by her caregiver and then buried. Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation has been searching for her body, and less than an hour or so ago, OSBI says remains of a child were found in rural Grady County. At this time, they say they cannot confirm the remains are those of Athena. They say the remains will be taken to the state medical examiner's office in Oklahoma City to be identified.
Brownfield was first reported missing on January 10th when a postal carrier found her 5-year-old sister alone outside the home the girls shared with caregivers Ivan and Alicia Adams in Searle, Oklahoma, that's southwest of Oklahoma City.
An affidavit says Alicia Adams told investigators that her husband Ivan beat the child at midnight on December 25th. Ivan Adams was arrested in Arizona on murder and child neglect charges and awaits extradition back to Oklahoma. Alyssa Adams is jailed in Oklahoma on child neglect charges. Be sure to stay with us as we continue following any updates on this developing story.
Law enforcement noted that although the evidence they had didn't entirely match Alicia's confession, her information did help lead them to Athena's remains. Instead of this taking place at 1 a.m, police said it was more like 4:15 to 5:30 a.m, and that Ivan's phone records show that he travelled from the 225 West Nebraska Avenue to a site near Rush Springs.
It has now been confirmed by the medical examiner, according to the OSBI, that a child's body found in a rural Grady County last week in that area is Athena. She was reported missing on January 10th.
Her remains were found 1 week later. This little 4-year-old, she was one of her caretakers, is in jail facing a murder charge. The man, the woman, faces child neglect charges. She's also in jail. Friends and family said their final farewells yesterday during a service in Enid.
Athena Brownfield's body has been identified. Her remains were found more than a week ago, buried in Rush Springs.
Now, she is the 4-year-old girl who's been missing out of Searle, and Athena's caretaker was charged, accused of beating her to death on Christmas and then burying her in Grady County. The other caretaker also charged with child neglect, and again, the OSBI confirmed the remains found are Athena Brownfield's.
Alicia's lawyer argued that she could not get a fair trial with all the social media attention and scrutiny. So on January the 19th, 2023, Judge David Stevens instituted a gag order, which means officials associated with the case are forbidden to make any public comments, and any new information will only be available from the court proceedings.
A gag order has been filed on her case, saying that lawyers and law enforcement in Caddo County cannot talk about this publicly. Attorneys saying public interest is a big reason for this.
Gag orders are exceedingly rare, and they generally only occur in the most high-profile cases.
While Ivan's cruelty was unthinkable, the medical examiner's report made it clear that little Athena suffered much more than just a horrible beating. According to the medical examiner's report, Athena's official cause of death was labelled as acute pneumonia complicating malnutrition and was ruled a homicide. Now, this is another time where the official evidence differs from Alicia's confession. The medical examiner's report also states that there was no evidence of physical lethal trauma on Athena's body. So that means that either Alicia made up her story about Ivan beating Athena, or Ivan beat her, but the beating wasn't as lethal as the other ailments that were tormenting this small body of Athena's. Athena's body was small, much smaller than a 4-year-old should be. She was found buried inside a Reebok backpack, and according to the official report, the girl and the backpack together weighed only 25 pounds. When they removed her remains, she weighed 23 pounds and her height was 36 inches. In addition to her acute pneumonia, Athena tested positive for numerous viruses. The complicated malnutrition cited by the medical examiner meant that the likelihood of death in a malnourished child suffering from pneumonia is significantly higher than a child who gets enough healthy food to eat. Athena was not taken to the doctors at all in the 20 months that she spent with her caregivers, even though they would have clearly recognised that she wasn't growing like a healthy 4-year-old should be. On May the 4th, 2023, Jasmine Brownfield, the biological mother of Athena and Adina, was also charged with 2 felony counts of child neglect by abandonment. Her bond was set for $100,000. She was arrested in Payne County and extradited the next day to Caddo County. She was released on the 22nd of May, but still has to attend upcoming court dates.
Jasmine Brownfield is being held on 2 counts of child abuse after she granted Ivan and Alicia Adams custody, but not officially through the state. Both Ivan and Alicia have been charged in Athena's death.
Ivan and Alicia are still being held at the Caddo County Jail, and it seems that they will likely stay there until their trials. Preliminary hearings are scheduled for the 4th of October 2023. Watch this space.
Indicate the couple never grappled with Athena's death. Just 3 days after her murder, December 29th, Alicia took to her Instagram to show off her manicure. December 30th, she posted her photo at a hair salon ahead of her husband's work party, where they're both seen smiling for the camera. Also from that night, Adams poses for a silly picture atop a buffalo statue. Then New Year's Eve, Alicia shares a quote reading, "I love New Year's, this feeling of starting over again." January 1st, posting this picture, writing, "2022 was a hell of a year, so ready to make 2023 mine." January 3rd, she says, "One thing I realized is that everything always ends up working out." Then January 6th, the day investigators believe Athena's sister had been left alone, Alicia posts these pictures taken on a date with a new boyfriend, reading, "Best night with the man of my dreams," going on to say, "Can't wait to build the best life with you." Now, in a statement to News 9, the man seen in those photos with Alicia released a statement to us telling us that his heart goes out to Athena and that he hopes justice is served. Live from OSBI headquarters, Sylvia Corkill, Oklahoma's own News 9.
These photos were from Ivan Adams' Facebook page and apparently show pictures of his children. Every single one of them are covered in bruises, marks, cuts, scabs. Apparently, when officers searched their home, it was absolutely filthy. The father of Athena Brownfield, Wesley Brownfield, was booked into Caddo County Jail on failure to appear for a warrant for a DUI. Athena's caretakers, Ivan Adams and Alicia Adams, who were arrested in relation to Athena's death, are also currently in Caddo County Jail, putting all three inside the same area. Interesting. Athena's funeral service was held on January 25th, 2023 at the Stride Bank Center in Enid, Oklahoma, and was officiated by Senator Roger Thompson. Mourners wore purple ribbons over their hearts as purple was Athena's favourite colour. Athena's short life was celebrated with tears and prayers and songs like "Yes, Jesus Loves Me." Senator Thompson said, "I want this little girl to feel like she was loved. Oklahoma loves this precious little girl that many of us have never even met."
This week, a memorial bench was installed in honor of Athena, the 4-year-old who was reported missing in January after a postal worker spotted her sister wandering alone. Winnie and Guthrie.
This